Get up! You can't sleep here. The sharp voice of a police officer cut through the freezing night. A homeless man, shivering on the sidewalk, was yanked up by his arm. His thin blanket was ripped away, his few belongings scattered and kicked aside. The man pleaded, "Please, I'm not hurting anyone. I just need somewhere to rest." But mercy never came. Instead, a citation was slapped into his trembling hands. A $500 fine for loitering. His heart sank. He didn't even have $5, let alone $500. Tomorrow he would face Judge Frank Caprio in court. And what happened inside that courtroom would leave everyone in tears. The next morning, the homeless man stood before the bench. His clothes were worn, his face lined with exhaustion. But what stood out most was the hopelessness in his eyes. The prosecutor read aloud, "Loitering, public disturbance, failure to comply with police orders." Each word sounded heavier than the last, like stones being stacked on his fragile shoulders. The man whispered, "Your Honor, I had nowhere else to go. I wasn't disturbing anyone. I was just cold and tired." The courtroom grew quiet. People exchanged looks, some shaking their heads. To many, this was just another case, another fine, another statistic. But Judge Frank Caprio didn't see a case file. He saw a human being. Judge Caprio leaned forward, his voice calm but firm. "Sir, the law is meant to protect people, not to punish them for being poor. This isn't justice." He looked at the officer's report again and shook his head. "A $500 fine? For a man who doesn't even have a bed?" The courtroom was silent, every eye fixed on the judge. Then, instead of delivering punishment, Judge Caprio did something unexpected. He tore the citation in half. "You owe this court nothing. In fact, this court owes you compassion." Gasps filled the room. Some people wiped away tears. Even the officer who wrote the ticket lowered his head in shame. Judge Caprio continued, "If society wants to fix homelessness, it must start with kindness, not cruelty. This man doesn't need punishment. He needs a chance." The gavel came down, not as a symbol of judgment, but as a symbol of mercy. The homeless man broke into tears. For the first time in years, someone had seen him as more than just a problem. The courtroom erupted in quiet applause, not for a legal victory, but for a human victory. That day, Judge Frank Caprio reminded the world of a lesson far greater than any fine or sentence. Justice without compassion is cruelty, and true justice is mercy in action. This was a fictional story, created as a tribute to Judge Frank Caprio, a man whose compassion has inspired millions around the world. We tell these stories not just for entertainment, but to remind people that kindness and humanity are the greatest forms of justice. If this story touched your heart, comment the word compassion below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share so we can continue spreading powerful lessons inspired by Judge Frank Caprio.